Have you experienced the awesome power of the Panasonic Real 3DO system? Obviously.
Presenting 3DO, the most advanced home gaming system in the universe. It's time to put away your toys.
3DO from Panasonic, Gold Star, and Creative Labs. A new low price and free games.
Mind-blowing graphics of Panasonic Real 3DO. 3DO.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the 3DO Experience, the 3DO retrospective podcast. We talk about the 3DO company, the console, and everything in between. I am Bill, and this is Thrak. How you doing, Thrak?
Oh, I'm doing all right, Bill. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. Just got back from my weekend vacation. I am slightly sunburned and kind of tired, but hey, that's part of vacationing.
You were secretly racing on a racetrack. You just didn't want me to tell you.
I saw a mannequin fall on a racetrack and get run over by a car.
I mean, that's a vacation right there.
That was the most absurd thing I've ever seen. Did you see that video by any chance?
Nope.
So the racetrack I went to is called Barber Motorsports Park, and the owner of the park is like really eccentric and has like all these art installations around the track, and there's like an overhanging bridge that goes over the racetrack, and he decided to put like this like female mannequin in the bridge, just hanging there over the track, and its name was Georgina. Well, Georgina fell on the track during the race and got run over.
Ooh.
It was crazy because we saw it happen live and everyone thought like some like crazy like protester ran out on track or something.
The crazy things that happen.
Yeah. It was pretty interesting. The best part was the marshal, when they finally picked it up out during a caution, he literally just picked it up and just kind of yeeted it into the safety truck and then like walked away.
Good times, man. Good times.
Yeah. It was fun though. Alabama was interesting. I got to see the Bass Pro Shops where the incident happened a couple of years ago or earlier this year.
Yeah, that was in January, I think.
Yeah. It was funny was I was just like in there and I looked at the fish tank. I'm like, that looks really familiar. And then I like thought about it and I was like, oh, it's that fish tank.
I hope that guy's doing okay because clearly he needed help.
Yeah. I haven't heard anything about that since, so I'm assuming he probably got some help. I hope.
That's all that matters. Because I don't know if you've seen the that motherfucker's not real. That girl, like she disappeared for a while, but now she's like trying to make herself like a public figure, and it's not going well. You know,
I know.
Like,
she's
trying a little too hard. I think she's doing the right wing grift right now.
Oh, is she doing that? I know initially she was just like, I know initially she was getting a bunch of followers because she was hot, basically.
And then like when she started doing like media, like interview stuff, people were asking her, "Are you gonna do it on OnlyFans?" And she's just like, "Ha ha ha." I think she did, but you know, I have no idea. The whole thing's fucking weird, man.
I don't know who was more infamous, her or the fucking Burger King guy, like the racist Burger King dude on the plane. Yeah.
What the fuck was that?
You know what the worst part is? There was 2 separate incidents involving that guy. In both occasions, he had the Burger King crown. See,
at first I was thinking like, wait, the Burger King foot lettuce guy. What does he have to do with this? And then you used to tell me the guy on the plane. I was like, oh yeah, that guy. Oh god, that guy.
I don't think he ever got back to America.
I hope not. But like, I hate that that's like one of the funniest things I've ever laughed at because it is so just insane, you know?
Yeah. He goes from like 0 to 100 really quick.
Yeah. I hate that modern internet culture has completely broken my brain on comedy.
Yeah.
So that stuff just makes me laugh.
The only other plane incident I remember is like the one guy who was so like out of control they duct taped him to his seat and he spent the entire flight like screaming.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Planes are getting ridiculous these days.
Yeah. I did have that one morbid moment on the plane where we were flying and I overheard the people behind me saying, this is an older plane. Like, because it was definitely on the older side of things. And they're like, that must mean we're going to be safe. And I was just like, that's great.
What does that even mean?
It's because all the Boeing 737 Maxes have been like crashing and all that stuff lately.
Yeah. And if you ask them why you think that's happening, they're gonna say, "Oh, it's because they're allowing like black women to fly planes now." It's like, what? That's not how it works.
No, it's because Boeing's making their planes out of scrap metal now.
Yes,
Allegedly.
and then yes, allegedly. Well, there was a whistleblower who allegedly killed himself.
Yeah, clearly.
No, he was murdered.
Oh no.
He sent, I think it was a note to his sister saying, "If I die, it wasn't suicide."
Yeah, it's very obvious.
He knew he knew what he was getting himself into. Like he took the risk.
Yeah,
And of course, interestingly, after that happened, people just stopped talking about it.
yeah.
Interesting.
The worst part is though, after because we had to take 2 separate flights after our connection, I got on the next plane and it was a 737 Max. And I was like, great,
Fuck. Yeah.
we made it. So,
Well, that's good. That's good.
Yeah, flying never gets any more fun, but it's kind of just part of life.
I don't know. Flying's never bothered me.
I don't hate the actual flying part. I hate the going through TSA and waiting for the plane and getting basically I hate all the rigmarole of getting on the plane and getting off. The flight isn't my issue.
Even still, it just doesn't bother me because I always have something to entertain myself with while I wait, so I don't care.
Yeah.
The only thing is that I get sick coming down, so I have to take like Dramamine. But
see,
I'm fine.
I just instantly fall asleep the second I get on a plane. So it's like anytime, it's just like I'll fall asleep, and the next thing I know, we're landing, and I'm like, oh, good.
See, I wish I was able to do that. I can't.
Yeah. Yeah. Other than that, though, so I know in the last episode we said we were going to cover Wing Commander 3. Well, Wing Commander 3 is a very long game, and
he's a honker. Look, he's got 4 discs. Fuck. He's got 4. Count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, and a whole bunch of other shit, like a play guide and a lore manual, the whole thing.
Yeah. I got like halfway through disc 1, and then I was kind of like, I want to finish more of this, but this is a lot of game. Like, it's one of the biggest games I think we've played so far.
Well, I am stuck. There's one mission that I keep dying on, no matter what I do. So I'm figuring it out.
Yeah. So in the meantime, we decided we're going to push that back a little bit to give us more time, and we're going to just do another chatting episode. This time, maybe covering some current events in gaming, because gaming's kind of wacky.
We're going to add our voices to the fucking controversy pile. Yay. That's how we get clicks, baby.
Yeah, because gaming's kind of wacky now.
Well, it's because people are trying to bring Gamergate back because they're fucking morons.
Yeah, they are. I saw that thing you posted going around. I didn't even get it. I was like, huh?
See, you're lucky. You're not like tapped into this shit like I am. Like I am just basically out of just morbid curiosity, and I just hate that I know so much about this shit now for a game that I don't even know if I'll ever play. You know.
Oh, Stellar Blade. That's right.
This goddamn Stellar Blade shit. Is this? I can't wait for this to end because one day it's just gonna stop and we're all just gonna stop thinking about it. And then after a while, someone will go, "Wait a minute, weren't we talking about that game for some fucking reason?" You know, like it eventually will all subside, and then people can be more fairly critical of the game for good or for bad, right? Though I've seen some reviews of the game from like I think Gene Park reviewed it. I think Sphere Hunters reviewed it, and both of their critiques I was interested in, because Gene Park is also Korean, so he has that sort of connection to it. And Sphere Hunter usually does a good job reviewing these kind of games. That seems like her field basically. And people seem to enjoy the game for what it is. It's surprising that people are like, oh, this is a Souls-like, when people expected it to be more like a Bayonetta, because that's kind of how it was advertised, essentially. Which weirdly enough coincides with this weird controversy that is surrounding the game. Well, it all started when some fucker on Twitter posted some like clip. It's probably from the demo or something of her in like the nude suit or whatever, like climbing up a ladder and being like, yeah, I'm anti-woke, baby. And it's like, because you like anime ass and titties. I thought everybody did. Like that doesn't seem like a partisan issue to me. But nevertheless, recently, for those listening who don't know, though you probably do, there is a weird fucking petition going on about Stellar Blade, because I think it was one, maybe two outfits were censored. And what I mean by censored is that, say she has like a deep V, right? And you can see some of the titty. They put a little lace bra there to cover the titty on like two of the outfits. And so these people are enraged, despite the fact there are multiple suits in that game that have clearly enough ass and titty for a fucking lifetime, like the aforementioned nude suit, if I may reiterate. But still, these guys are furious and calling, this is censorship, blah 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 blah. Also, a little bit of blood was removed from like the demo or whatever, but whatever. Like it's look, I'm not a fan of censorship in any form, right? Like, yeah, censorship is bad, of course, right? But let's not kid ourselves here. Is this really that bad? No. Now, like, to the point of like almost 60,000 people have signed this fucking petition and some weird bullshit. We have fucking Mark Kern Grums on the Twitter, leading this charge and being this just. I watched a video about it and somebody called him a cry bully, and it's like somebody who like always plays the victim, but will always like lash out against everybody. Like the term cry bully is just absolutely perfect, and there's a small chance he finds this, the teeniest bit of a chance. If he does, Mark, you fucking suck. Okay. You're a piece of shit. And I know exactly what you're doing. You need to stop.
Wasn't he like an Activision guy or a Blizzard guy or something?
He worked with Blizzard. You could argue the toxic work culture at Blizzard he was one of the perpetuators of that.
Probably.
And he stole a bunch of people's money because he was working on a game and he hasn't updated it in years. And yeah, Mark, tell us what's going on with that game that you took everybody's money for, huh? What's going on with that? You're going to cry about like, oh, like Sony took my money and lied to me. It's like, well, Mark, what about those fucking people you lied to? Eat my ass. Okay. Eat my socialist ass. I'll say it. I don't care. But it's just like, he's the dickhead, right? And then you have all these weird people, and they're like, there's like video messages now where like these like weird sweaty dudes who make me look like hot as shit. Okay. I recognize I'm not that attractive, but like they're making me look gorgeous. Okay. No offense. And these guys look like they've never seen like the most skin they've seen from a woman is what she wears at the grocery store. You know what I mean? And it's easy to make fun of them, but at the same time, I feel sad for these guys that they feel like they have to do this, that like they're being driven to do this by some like desire for change or whatever, when it's so easy to go on Steam to look at, go to that side of Steam, you know what I'm talking about, or play Nier Automata, play Bayonetta, or any other fucking character action game, or any other game released recently that has this shit. Hell, the Atelier Ryza. Like the first time I saw that game, I was like, damn, she got some thighs. It was like the first thing I thought when I saw that game. So like, this isn't being censored. This isn't like, it's not real. They're perpetuating this bullshit when there's like actual other real shit going on where people are being censored for their freedom of speech. That's a whole nother podcast, but like that's actually happening. But these guys are deciding to cry about this. And it's just, it pisses me off, and I should not be thinking about it nearly as much.
See, it's one of those things where it's like I wouldn't even notice it until it's pointed out to me. Like, it's like I don't get the whole like obsession with like the super horny RPGs, because it's like I don't care. I'm indifferent either way. Like if I really want to see that, there's plenty of websites available for you that are easy to find. I'm not going to name them here, but you know if you know.
Yeah, like the fact that these guys want like every game they play to fit their very narrow definition of what they jerk off to is just kind of insane to me. Because they'll also cry about like Western games having ugly women in them, and I'm like, I don't see it at all. You guys are just like I've never been a guy who fetishizes Asian women. Like this could be a hot take. I don't even find Asian women that attractive. Like to the point that some people do in this community. I know, crazy. Of course they're beautiful, but like I've never like how some guys get, with it.
Yeah, I know.
That's never been my thing ever. So I don't get it, right? It's just fucking weird, man.
Yeah,
it gives us, you and me, and like the rational people who like watch this and are in our discords and everything. It gives us a bad rap.
See, those
we get associated with those fucking weirdos because we're the same people who like play all these games and do all this shit. But obviously, we're smarter about it.
They're like the same people that then would like give you a weird look for like playing as like female Byleth in like say in Fire Emblem Three Houses.
Or if you were like female shepherd in Mass Effect. Yeah.
Even though it's like there's a number of reasons why playing as female shepherd is just a better experience overall, just because Jennifer Hale's a better actor than Mark Muir.
True.
Nothing against Mark Muir. He does a fine job, but just Jennifer Hale does a better job.
And you can fuck Garrus. And who doesn't want to fuck Garrus? He's the best.
I mean, in the later games you can fuck anybody, pretty much.
Very true. But you have to start as her in the first to build up the relationship with Garrus, because who wouldn't? Garrus is amazing.
Yeah, it's stuff like I remember I legit like I posted somewhere that I was playing Fire Emblem Three Houses as female Byleth because I just preferred the way her character design over the male version, because I think the male version's kind of boring. And everyone's like, "Why do you play as a girl? That's weird." And I'm like, who cares that much? It's like, you ever play like Uncharted Lost Legacy? You only get one option in that game. I mean,
exactly. And our buddy Chris at a Novel Console, he's mentioned this before in our chats, I think on the podcast and probably just in general. But when there's ever a choice between male or female, he always picks the female. And his reason is always, if I'm going to be playing this game for dozens of hours, would I rather stare at a woman or a sweaty dude? And it's like, yeah, I totally get that.
He hasn't played enough Metal Gear Solid 4.
No, he hasn't. But when I eventually get to Assassin's Creed Odyssey, right? Because those you get to choose between like Cassandra and all them. Like I know everybody prefers Cassandra, so I'll play as her when I get there. But I've always been the guy to just pick the dude. It's just my thing. But I was never like weirded out by people who pick the lady in games. I mean, hell, you guys can't see it, but like I have all the Bayonettas back there. I have the Bayonetta amiibo. I love Bayonetta. She's great. She's a very sexual character, but in a very different way. Like in the first game, like that cemetery scene where like the enemies start like cutting off her clothes in like very weird ways, and she starts like moaning or whatever. To me, that seems so over the top. Like it felt like it was making fun of sexualization of video games. You know what I mean? Because it was so. Because you see it, you're like, this is fucking crazy. This is stupid, right? And it clicks in your brain like, oh yeah, we probably do this a little bit too much. That it goes so over the top. It's like, yeah, I get it now.
I still remember.
But also that game was forward thinking because it gave her glasses. Camilla fought he had to fight to have Bayonetta wear glasses, and so much so that every character had glasses. He gave them all. So yeah. Respect to Camilla for that one.
I still remember the controversy around Fire Emblem Fates with they took out the blowing on your wife mini game.
And then what was it? What game was it? Oh, was it Xenoblade 2 or was it Tokyo Mirage Sessions with the vagina bones?
That sounds like an Atlas thing, so I'm going to say Tokyo Mirage Sessions.
Okay. Hold on, let me check. For those of you who don't know, boop. I gotta find it. Yes, it was Tokyo Mirage Sessions, where like a character, like her outfit, you could like see like the creases where her vagina was basically. And
Yeah.
then they did an update where they just got rid of it. And some weirdos on Twitter, shocker, got really upset. Really upset.
Yeah.
And it's like, guys, you all are fucking crazy. Who
You know-
cares?
You know what the worst part
God.
is? I guarantee
What?
you none of them fucking even played the game.
There's probably a few, and I guarantee you those guys complaining about that or complaining about the Stellar Blade shit. It's the same
Probably.
dudes. Has to be. It's just so I don't get it. I really don't. Like, is there actual censorship in video games that needs to be talked about? Yes, but this isn't it. Like, this isn't it, guys. Like, you need to pick your battles, and I don't really think this is that big of a deal. I'm hoping eventually, well, it will. Like, this will blow over. We all won't care anymore. And then Stellar Blade, when people talk about it in the future, they'll talk about it as a game, but they'll be like, oh, we have to talk about the controversy. It's going to be one of those games where eventually it's like, oh, there's this weird thing that happened, but who fucking cares anymore? Let's just talk about the game. So, yeah. And people seem to be enjoying it. So, to those of you who are playing and enjoying it, that's great. I hope you're having a great time. So,
See, that's like my favorite thing about these like change.org petitions is like I love going on there just reading some of them because it's like none of these are gonna do shit. Like,
oh yeah, they don't do it. Well, apparently Sony is issuing refunds to people over false advertisement.
God, people give Sony so much shit, but they are like the first to fucking bend at the fucking fan demand.
I mean, Microsoft has done that too. Sony and Microsoft have both bended, but for different things. Like, I remember Microsoft did it when they were going to double the price of gold, and everyone got pissed at them. So they're like, never mind. So, but that was like a good thing, keep the price
True.
low.
I mean,
This
infamous,
just seems like a. Go ahead.
I was going to say that in the infamous Xbox One launch.
Oh yeah, that was oh boy, they still deal with that to this day. But yeah, looking at like the change.org stuff, it's a lot of like, I mean, stuff. It's like, oh, like here's a petition for UPS drivers to get air conditioning in their cars. It's like, see, I can get behind that. That sounds like a good thing. But as you said, is that petition actually going to do anything? Probably not.
No,
and that's a shame because those guys definitely deserve it, especially as the world is getting hotter.
I think a study went around that the majority, like I think like 99% of them don't amount to anything. But there is a study that some of them do influence certain things. Like they do get like creators' attention at times. So it's kind of a hit or miss kind of thing.
Oh, wait a minute. I think this one actually did. 5 years and 1.3 million signatures later, the petition to get AC and UPS delivery trucks won. The Teamsters officially ratified a contract with historic heat protections. Oh, great. See, I do that thing most online people do. I didn't read the whole fucking thing, but there you go. They got it. Fantastic.
That was the 1% that actually went through.
Well, hey, that's one that needed to happen. So
Yeah.
hopefully they actually have proper AC and they're not dying in those fucking trucks. I don't like UPS anyways, but those drivers deserve to not die in the fucking van.
Yeah.
All right, enough of the Stellar Blade bullshit. Let's talk about our favorite company, Square Enix, shall we? They had they have a what was it, like a quarterly report or something like that, earnings report?
From what I've read is they got their earnings report and they are so down right now. Like they are bleeding money. Like it's not looking great for Square right now.
See, I pulled up the IGN article. Here's the statement in full, they say. At the meeting convened on March 27th, 2024, the board of directors of Square Enix Holdings voted, in light of the myriad changes underway in the environment surrounding its group, to revise the group's approach to the development of high-definition games with the intention of being more selective and focused in the allocation of development resources. As a result of a close examination of the group's development pipeline undertaken in keeping with this revised approach, the company expects to recognize approximately 22.1 billion yen in content abandonment losses on its books for the fiscal year ended March 2024. So in February, they had their forecast full year sales, $2.3 billion. Why did I get a message from Xbox? Maybe they're listening to me. And that's the thing. Their sales are up 16.8% over the previous financial year. Their profit would be flat, blah 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 blah. So like their profits are up and they're doing okay, but so the money they're taking now is them like saying, oh, we need to fully invest in what NFTs, more mobile stuff, the stuff people don't want them to do, but instead like focus on these high definition games, which has to be console games, which is what people fucking want from them. But let's not kid ourselves here. Last year, I think it was the last like couple years, they were putting out games like crazy, but they weren't advertising any of them. So it's like, oh, that Square Enix game is out. Like what? Which one? And like they don't advertise these like Octopath 2. There was a couple
Harvestella, Star Ocean R, Star Ocean 6, Dio Field Chronicle. The list goes on.
Yeah, Dio Field, various Day Life, like all these games that like at most we saw in like a direct, and that was it. And then they came out, and then some people were like, they're good, they're not great, whatever. But even some like Octopath 2, which sold really well on Switch, and people liked it, and was a bit of a hit on Game Pass. And then like 2 comes out, and like people go, oh, that came out? Like we knew, like in our fucking weird community, but most people didn't. And it's just like, if anything, Square needs to, instead of taking these abandonment losses, they need to take some of the money that they've actually been earning, probably through Final Fantasy 14 and that Sony money from those exclusives they've been getting, and investing that in their fucking marketing team, because clearly they fucking suck. Where's Dragon Quest 3 HD? It's probably dead now.
Yeah, they mentioned
this is probably like that's probably dead. And that really sucks.
They specifically mentioned they were canceling 3 HD 2D related projects, and everyone's basically like, yeah, there goes Dragon Quest 3 right there.
Well, and Yuji Horii had said he wanted to do 1 and 2 as well. So it might have been that whole trilogy, which is that's such bullshit, because we know those would have sold. It's Dragon Quest.
Sold in Japan alone.
And it's Dragon Quest. Like they've talked about wanting Dragon Quest to expand and be bigger in the West, right?
And they were.
This isn't the way to do that. Like 11 was almost the FF7 moment. Like it was close, but not quite. I think the definitive edition taking a year, the translation taking a little bit of time, kind of hurt it a little bit. But it still is like the best selling game in the series. Like it's a fucking phenomenal game. Like, hell, I've considered buying it digitally on my Xbox so I could play it there to get the achievements, because I have a sealed copy back there, but I don't want to open it. So I'm going to buy it again. It'll be the 3rd time I buy this fucking game, but like, because it's that good. And yet, it's like, how do you expand that? Like, give people the old games. Give them access. We have 1 and 3 on Switch, but they're just the mobile ports, and they're perfectly fine. But like that HD version of 3, I've been waiting to play 3 because of that version. When it was announced, I was finishing Dragon Quest 2 for the first time with the idea of I was going to go right into 3. And then they announced that at that big like Dragon Quest anniversary thing. I think I had to watch it at like 3 a.m. or something, but I did. And I saw that and I went, well, I guess I will be waiting. And that was in 2021, I believe. And I'm still waiting. And it seems at this point, it's vaporware. So I might as well fucking play my Switch version at this point.
Yeah, it's like, I was telling people like online, it's like, I joked about like the fact that they released like 20 RPGs within pretty much like the span of like a year. And they were expecting them all to sell very well. And it's like, these are RPGs. Like I barely have enough time to play one RPG these days. It's like,
and Square is known for their like terrible sales projections. Like you'll have a game like when Tomb Raider came out, 2013 Tomb Raider, best selling game in the franchise, right? Like across the board. I think that game has sold over 20 million copies now or something. It sold some crazy number now. But when it came out, it was like the fastest selling game in the series. It was doing fantastically well. And Square said it wasn't enough. And I think that's what clicked in everybody's brain. Like, what the hell were they expecting out of Tomb Raider? Like, when it's already like selling it's already selling well. Like, what the fuck are you complaining about?
And then the worst part is they did the same shit with the Rise of the Tomb Raider, I believe.
Yeah.
Well,
did they publish Rise? No, they didn't publish Rise. I don't think they did.
Yeah, they did. They published the 3 because they sold it off after they finished the trilogy.
Okay.
Because the thing with Rise was they complained that it didn't sell well, and I'm like, well, of course it didn't. You made it an Xbox exclusive, and the Xbox was like the lesser console at the time. It was like,
oh yeah, because Microsoft published it on Xbox.
Oh, okay.
So there was probably some money changed hands in that way. Yeah, Square Enix published the rest of them. Yeah, you're correct. But yeah, the European division, which
is now part of Embracer Group, as far as I know.
Let's see. This is according to Wikipedia for Tomb Raider 2013. The game sold more than 1 million copies less than 48 hours after its release. It debuted at number 1 on the UK charts, becoming the biggest UK launch of 2013 before GTA 5, of course, set a new record for the franchise, more than doubling the debut sales of Tomb Raider Legend. The 360 and PS3 versions set new Week 1 records as the fastest-selling individual formats of any Tomb Raider title so far, a record that was previously held by Angel of Darkness. Topped the charts in France, Italy, like all these fucking countries, the US. It was like the second best-selling title of March, excluding download sales behind BioShock Infinite. Let's see. 3 weeks after its release, Square Enix announced the game had sold 3.4 million copies worldwide at retail in 3 weeks, which is very good, but it had failed to reach predicted sales targets. So is it like, what were they expecting? 5? That's the only thing I could guess.
Their sales expectations were very optimistic. That's all I'm going to say.
But that's the thing. It sold really well. Like it broke sales fucking records for the series and was like doing fantastically well. Like I remember when Tomb Raider 2013 came out. Like I was kind of in my weird break from gaming, but I remember that game being a big deal when it came out and people were loving it. So to me, that's like Square having bad sales projections still continues to this day. Like we still don't know what Final Fantasy VII Remake sold. The only number we have is that 5 mil, but that was like way back when. And it's like, what? So that was okay to sell that many, but like Tomb Raider, like it just, to me, it just seemed fucking weird as hell. Let's see. As of October 2021, Tomb Raider has sold more than 14.5 million copies. It's probably crossed 15 million at this point, I would say. It's been 3 years.
I remember too, because then the new thing is Final Fantasy VII Rebirth apparently is underselling expectations.
What a shocker. You make it a fucking console exclusive and it's just not going to sell. Like Final Fantasy 16, like that sold well, but it wasn't going to sell well enough for what Square wanted. So it doesn't make any sense that they want these crazy sales numbers, but they're like, oh, we're only going to put it on this one console. And whatever money Sony is giving them, it's clearly not enough to keep it up. So I like even just like PC, PlayStation same day. Like if you like fuck the Xbox version, just PC, PlayStation same day. But they don't do that. So, I mean, the Final Fantasy VII Remake is on PC now, like Part 1 is anyway. So it's also know, the whole thing is just fucking crazy. So
it doesn't surprise me.
Oh yeah, 7 Remake has now sold over 7 million as of September 2023. So, which I'm sure is a good number, but for some reason Square's not going to say that didn't meet projections when I have a feeling that is not the amount they wanted it to sell.
Yeah, I mean, because it's like it doesn't surprise me that Rebirth isn't selling nearly as quick as the Remake did. Because I mean, Remake alienated so many fans off the get-go because it wasn't what they were hoping for. Plus the whole multi-platform splitting it up into parts stuff left a lot of people kind of sour. And it doesn't surprise me. Like obviously the install base for the second one is not going to be as high as the initial because not everyone's going to go through with the entire thing.
Yeah, like you can't expect all 7 million Remake buyers to buy in on Rebirth, even if Rebirth is the better game of the two, which is what I've been hearing. I still haven't played either of them, but yeah, it's like you can't and they're spending all this money to make these games because they're gorgeous games. Oh my God, right? Like graphically very impressive, and there's a lot of like really cool stuff in there, but you can't be spending that kind of fucking crazy money on a game that's like this, and then it like Microsoft can take these hits on like making these weird big games, like say like a Starfield or whatever. I mean, also people have been saying that Well, I guess we can talk about Fallout in a second, but like if Square is quote unquote bleeding money, right, and they're spending all this money to do this big Final Fantasy VII project, and them not putting it everywhere just to be like so we can recoup the cost, like just at the very least putting it on PC. I mean, it'd be nice if they're on Xbox. I know they wouldn't make a lot of money on it, but if they're trying to get as much money back, it just makes sense to me. Like, and they could probably like even take a Game Pass deal from Microsoft, and that would probably help.
Yeah.
Like there's just it just annoys me with Square. They always have all these really good money making opportunities that they just squander completely. And then they're like, "Oh, we don't know what's going on. We need to invest in like NFTs." Like, is their CEO still on? Oh, wait, that was the old CEO that left, and then they got the new guy in because he did the whole thing with Phil Spencer putting 14 on Xbox, and I don't think it's been confirmed yet, but I'm pretty sure 16 is going to come to Xbox at some point.
No, it's coming to PC. I know that. I'm assuming Xbox is after that.
Yeah, it'll probably happen at some point. They maybe have to work out some contractual stuff. I don't know, but
it's probably going to be like Sony gets the DLC first, and then they bring it over, and then it's going to be one of those things.
Yeah, that kind of thing.
It's really funny. Oh, go on.
No, please. I've been ranting like crazy.
I was just going to say it's really funny, like in hindsight, thinking about it, that like Sega of all companies is like looking so strong lately, and Square is like a fucking dumpster fire at the moment.
Well, Sega has a really good PC market. And yeah, like their last time I checked, their like revenue and operating income was higher. It was going up, but I mean, of course, they're susceptible to the dumb shit like a lot of people are with like letting people go and doing all this weird, stupid stuff and laying off workers and everything. But yeah, Sega's in a much more financially stable point than some people would have you believe. Because I think people like shit. I think people like shitting on Sega because it makes them feel good.
The thing about most people when it comes to Sega is there is a large amount of people who think Sega is just Sonic Team.
Yeah.
And Sonic Team is arguably the weakest link at Sega at the moment, but even then, it's like they're not even doing half bad right now either.
Yeah, I mean, like Sega has I think they still own Total War? Because I thought I heard something going on with Creative Assembly, but I'm not sure.
As far as I know, Sega still owns them.
Yeah, and they have the 2 Point series as well, which those games have been doing very well. Like a Dragon the Yakuza series keeps getting better and better.
That developer is so underrated too. The Yakuza developer.
Yeah, they've been killing it. I mean, Sega's bringing back Monkey Ball finally. They're starting to put more money into that. I mean, Sonic will always be the cash cow, especially over here. And with the stuff that like, they're going to bring back some of their older IPs and, the whole super game thing, whatever the fuck that is. Like, I think Sega is starting to like actually get its shit together and be like, hey, we can tap into more nostalgia, but in like different new ways, like make a new Shinobi game. And at the same time, we can do this weird new Crazy Taxi, whatever the hell that's going to be, like a new Jet Set, I mean, they should do another Knights game. Why not? Give me Billy Hatcher, HD Billy Hatcher for fuck's sakes. I'll buy that. I mean, I've heard the rumor that Sonic Heroes could be getting a remake, remaster, probably next year.
Fix the controls, and that game's that's a really good game.
Yeah, a friend of mine at work has been playing it quite a bit. So
it has good level designs. It just has bad controls.
And having to play the game 4 times in a row to get the true ending is really dumb.
Yeah.
But like I think Sega is finally starting to get all of its ducks in a row. I think, they aren't immune to dumb corporate bullshit. Most companies are, especially Sega with that weird Japanese American hybrid thing. It's weird. But yeah, I think Sega's in a much healthier spot than they've been in a long time. And as you said, people aren't really talking about that. You know what I mean?
It's funny to me that years ago at this point, it's insane how long ago it was. But when Sega bought Atlas, everyone thought this was the worst thing in the world and Atlas was doomed. And now it's like, in hindsight, it's like that was one of the smartest decisions Sega had ever done.
Yeah, like I guarantee, like they bought them. I think it was it right before? It was before Persona 5.
5 hadn't come out yet. It was right after 4 Golden.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it was what, 2013?
Yes, I want to say.
Okay. Yeah, because I can't remember if Golden has the Sega logo on it or not,
It
like the
doesn't.
original Vita version.
Golden has.
It does now.
It does now, but the Vita version has still says Index Corporation.
Gotcha. And yeah, just looking at this real quick, Sega Sammy, their financial report that they released at the end of 23, their net sales were up 28.7%. Their operating income was up 42.4%, and their ordinary income up 42.7%, which are very high numbers. So yeah, they're doing very, very well because they're investing in the right spots that they need to be. You know, like they're being like, hey, we have Sonic, Like a Dragon, and Persona. Those are like probably their 3 big cash cows. And then there's also like the Total War stuff, which does phenomenal numbers on PC. 2 Point is becoming a really big thing now. Way to cut EA off at the heels. Good job, Sega. And they can use that money to experiment and do a lot of different kind of weirder things here and there. I mean, I'm still pissed about the whole Creative Assembly like live service shooter they were having them make, and it was done, and then they just canceled it before it even came out. Like that was dumb. That was just release the fucking thing, right? But I mean, they're not at this point. But like Sega still does dumb stuff, but they're doing a lot better than they have in like a long time. So
it's so funny to me that like when everybody's favorite convicted felon Yuji Naka left the company, everyone said that's the heart of Sega. Like they're screwed without him, and it's like he goes over to Square and makes a fucking abomination of a game called Balan Wonderworld. And then
though I don't think that game's horrible quality is due to Yuji himself. I think it was just like that was Square as well. Like I think it was just a bunch of stuff. Like I mean, I was worried about the Like a Dragon series when its creator left. What's his name? Nagoshi. Am I saying that right? Like he was at like AV when they turned over to RGG. Like he was responsible for like Monkey Ball, Yakuza, like F-Zero GX. Like he was there. Binary Domain. Like he was there for like a lot of the bigger modern Sega stuff. And then of course he left because I think he formed a new studio. He originally joined NetEase, but then he kind of has his own studio now, which I believe is being funded by what's that Chinese company that's like fun that has like stake in like all these different companies. I forget their name off the top of my head. Tencent. Yeah, like I think they're kind of funding him to do his, I don't know, like a Yakuza Light or something. I'm not sure what it's going to be, but we probably won't know for a while. Like I was worried when he left because it's like, damn, like he was there through the whole Yakuza series up until that point. So, but I mean, we played the new one; it was pretty good. So I think they'll be just fine. So
I think Yakuza's figured itself out, and that's like the new cash cow Sega has.
Oh yeah, it's becoming more and more of a cash cow. So
it's funny because speaking of Sega, like everyone thought they were screwed when Yu Suzuki left, who was like they were like golden boy for years, and like
because he kind of shot himself in the foot with Shenmue.
Yeah, which I mean, I love Shenmue not because it's a great game, just because it's so fascinating of a game.
Absolutely.
The third one kind of sucked, but that's here nor there. But yeah, I mean, it's like Sega AM2 still is kicking to this day, and like they still put out like all those awesome arcade games that you can play in the Yakuza series.
Yeah, so I think there isn't much to worry about with Sega. I think they're doing just fine.
Did you see Nintendo is attacking Gary's Mod now?
Yeah, I saw that. That screamed to me that their lawyers are bored and need something to do. Because
there was,
as some people may not know, but I'll say it here, that the North American division of Nintendo is essentially a law firm. Like that's really what they do, is find random legal cases to go after, because Nintendo was built on legal cases, the infamous Universal case from the early 80s.
I mean, Sega of America was basically founded by a lawyer, so
Yeah, well, Nintendo of America. Good old Howard Lincoln. Good old Howard Lincoln, who's kind of an asshole, but
Night
another
Trap will
topic.
never be on Nintendo console.
He's
Sure.
rolling. I don't think he's dead yet, but
I don't know. I don't actually know.
but in any case, that's what that whole Gary's Mod thing seemed to me to be, was just them finding something to do, because they're so good at finding loopholes, where it was done through like the Steam official workshop or whatever.
Yeah.
So it was on like the commercial side, because if it was just hidden under the ground, just slightly under the legal ground, nobody would care. You can move on, right? But naturally, Nintendo finds that like one little loophole that's like, well, fuck, god damn it. And so that's the thing. Those mods haven't gone anywhere. They're just not on the Steam Workshop anymore.
Yeah.
But if you look around, you can find them. Don't worry about it. It's just Nintendo being Nintendo. We know how they are. I mean, do you want to comment on apparently Epic wanted Samus for Fortnite?
I heard about that.
So apparently, Epic went to Nintendo saying, "Hey, we'd like, Samus Aran to be in Fortnite," and Nintendo's like, "Sure, but only on the Switch version." And Epic's like, "Well, we can't do that." So they're like, "Then no." And it's, I mean, it's Nintendo. I shouldn't be surprised, but like, God, the one franchise that could use that crossover bump, right? Yeah. It's the same with Rocket League. Like the Switch version of Rocket League has the Samus car, which is cool, but it's like, why can't I play that on this? Like, why? It's this just desire for control that Sega have, that I feel in these specific situations shoots themselves in the foot. Because if they put Samus in Fortnite, right, Metroid Dread probably would have doubled its sales in like a week. Easy. Metroid Prime Remaster would have sold like crazy. Like there would have been a huge Metroid boom, and Nintendo would have been like, "Well, what the fuck?" They wouldn't get it, right? But like the one series that could use that boost, like why not? I don't know. I
mean, it's not like they're doing anything with Samus right now.
Well, Prime 4 is still in the ether.
Does that exist? I swear it was a dream.
No, I believe it's real. And with the Switch not coming out until next year, we may not hear about it till then. But we could still very well hear about it this year. Very well could. I'm ready for that trailer to drop, just so like literally any other bullshit that's going on in gaming, like it could drop tomorrow and everyone would be like, "Stellar, what? We got to talk about Prime 4, baby." It'd be something actually to talk about. But
because at this point, it's gonna be like, at this point, it's getting up there with like fucking Beyond Good and Evil 2 and like Duke Nukem Forever. Like, what happened?
Well, this one's Nintendo, so I trust them to release it. Nintendo's pretty good about that stuff for the most part. Beyond Good and Evil 2. This was a while ago, but I remember somebody had said like it has now been in development longer than Duke Nukem Forever was.
Yeah, it's got the record now.
Yeah, and we've seen trailers here and there. Is Beyond Good and Evil 2 and like a Duke Nukem Forever case where the director of the game is just trying to keep up with the tech of the time, and it's just causing the game to constantly be delayed? And it's like, bro, just fucking release the game. Like Beyond Good and Evil is not remembered for like being like this technological masterpiece. It's just remembered as a good game people liked from the time.
So I learned this recently. Michel Ancel has retired from game development, and he's not even involved anymore. So I have no idea what's going on with Beyond Good and Evil 2 at this point.
Who knows? And plus, like Ubisoft has pivoted to doing more Assassin's Creed stuff because last time that worked out so well, they're just going to do it again. So
what I find fascinating is it's like, yeah, Ubisoft's like workhorse is the Montreal studio, but like their mainline Montpellier studio is like, it's been stuck on this damn game for like forever now. But then they have time to pump out a really awesome Prince of Persia side scroller. And then like they still can't figure out how to make Beyond Good and Evil 2.
One of these days we'll learn about it. Like when people were asking what's going on with Duke Nukem Forever, we eventually learned the story. And this game, regardless of if it comes out or not, we will eventually have the answer.
I
for what
hope
the fuck is going on.
when Matt McMuscles,
Ubisoft called it a quadruple A game. Fuck.
oh, right, they did.
The creative director Emile Morel has died.
Oh yeah, that happened too.
He
that
fucking died.
that
What the
happened too.
hell? This is a nightmare.
When Matt McMuscles inevitably makes his Beyond Good and Evil 2 What Happened episode, I can't wait to watch it because the Duke Nukem episode is legendary.
Yes, because it answered a lot of questions we had. So
that the only reason Duke Nukem Forever is still remembered is because of how fascinating its development really was.
Yeah, and then you play the game and it's just
it's exactly what they promised, which if it came out in 96 like it was supposed to, it would have been amazing.
2000 or even 2000, that 2001 trailer, like the Vegas trailer, if the game came out like that, people would have been like, that was a damn good video game.
It looked good. I will say that.
It did.
Yeah, but in 2011, when it did come out, it was kind of like, if you were nostalgic, you were like, yeah, this is fine. But if you're playing it, if it's like if you're coming off of Halo and then you're playing this, you're like, what the fuck is this shit?
Yeah. Yeah.
The first thing you do in the game is pee in a urinal and throw shit at the wall.
I just had a real bad thought, and that's like, what if the fucking like anti-woke people started latching onto this game and trying to make it a deal again? That would be so funny.
Oh, Duke Nukem.
Because it feels like it would be perfect for them, but I feel like even there, they'd be like, yeah, this is just not great.
It's so dead that it's so over the top that it's like a parody of itself that I don't even think they'd have any. I think if they tried anything, people would just be like, this is Duke Nukem.
Well, haven't Gearbox said they wanted to do a new Duke Nukem game? Like they wanted to, but it just didn't happen.
I think the problem is they just don't know what to do with it because it's sadly, as much as I love Duke Nukem 3D, it is a sadly outdated game at this point.
I mean, gameplay wise, it holds up with like Doom and Quake and all those, like as like the gameplay is considered. But yeah, like the titty bars and the crude humor and all that, like it's fine. But
well, the thing
it's not the senses anymore. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's not like, say, Conker's Bad Fur Day, where like the adult humor is charming just because of its setting. You know, like Duke Nukem, it just, I hate to say the phrase didn't age well, but you know, but as a game, it's still a fun game to play. You know,
the thing about Duke Nukem Forever that makes that game so infamous, like just nowadays, like taking the development story out of it. The thing that makes that game so just like bizarre is the fact that it is a mismatch of like different ideas behind humor and like game philosophy. Like there are points that are like, this feels like it was from 1996. And it's like, oh, they're trying to do modern art, like FPS stuff that doesn't fit with what this game's trying to do.
Yeah, for sure. I was just curiously checking my Xbox thing. Starting July 29th, 2024, we will no longer support the Microsoft Store on Xbox 360. Games will still play as intended and content redownloads will still be supported.
So long, soldier.
We knew that was coming anyways.
Meanwhile, Sony got bullied into keeping their store up and it's still there.
Is the PS3 store still up?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
The Vita store's still up.
The Vita store I can see because it has like a weird call. Like the PSP stores, that seeing the 360 store die says to me the PS3 is not far behind.
I just think Sony at this point forgot about it and they're like, oh right, we still have this up.
Yeah, they'll probably be like, can we get away with this now? Can we? I think we can get away with this now.
I mean, at this point, when they announced it, I was like, my response was, it's still up, because I didn't even realize it was still open.
Yeah, like the 360 store being up for as long as it was kind of impressive. Like, I mean, I downloaded the Arkham Origins DLC on it, which is crazy. I mean, I bought the DX upgrade for Sonic Adventure, the Xbox port of it, you know, because I'm a freak.
My thing is like, if Sony announced tomorrow that, hey, we're closing the store by this date, and everyone threw a hissy fit again, I'd be like, guys, you've had like a year now to download all this shit.
Longer than that. It's been up for longer than that.
Oh yeah, since they backed down the first time, it's like,
well, when they backed down, it was It wasn't a year ago, wasn't it? Wasn't it like a couple years ago?
Yeah, it was a couple of years ago. I know it was.
Yeah, it
I think
was 2021. That's right.
Yes, yeah, yeah. It was.
Oh yeah, they did the Nintendo thing where it's like you can't use like a credit card anymore. You have to use like gift cards or whatever.
Yeah, it's ironically it's easier to get around the Nintendo's. Like Nintendo, I had to do like a seminar on Discord explaining to people how to do it because it was so fucking convoluted.
Yeah, and I ended up just re-downloading everything I had. So just because I don't know when they're gonna get rid of re-downloads, so my 3DS has everything on it, so no problems.
Yeah, Sony just like it amazes me. Sony backed down so easily. Meanwhile, Nintendo was just fucking like deal with it.
They don't fuck. Yeah, because Nintendo don't give a shit because we have proven to them time and time again we don't care.
Yeah, and it's like honestly, Nintendo hurt more because there was more shit to lose on the fucking 3DS store than the PS3 store.
Exactly.
If anything, the thing that the PS3 people were bitching about was they were all like, it's going to inflate the value of PS3 games. I'm like, they were already going up at this point.
They always go up, you know. And if you want to play these games, there are other ways of playing them. So,
yeah, it was just that was such a weird moment. Like people,
the whole thing is weird.
Like that was like when I'm not really a Sony defender. I love Sony, but like I don't really defend any of these companies. And even I was like defending Sony there because I was like, I don't see what they're doing wrong here. Like they legitimately have a service that is costing them money to keep up, and nobody gives a shit about it. They're only mad now because you're taking it away. It's like,
yeah, like people make a big stink about it, and then when it goes away, we'll just forget and move on. That's just how it works, man.
I just remember all the people that were like, Sony's an awful company. I don't want to trust this company that clearly hates their customers. I prefer Nintendo or Xbox. I'm just like buddy, Xbox ain't a saint to any either, and Nintendo is literally the devil most times.
Yeah, the only one you can really trust, at least up to this point, is Steam. Steam's pretty good about that stuff. You know, like I think it has to do with like Valve's not a publicly traded company.
Yeah.
So they don't have to answer to stockholders or they don't have to do the corporate bullshit at all. So if Valve's like, I just want to keep this. So if Gabe's like, I want to keep this game up, just fucking keep it up. Like the only time games get taken off of Steam is when another company pulls them. It's never been Steam pulling them.
Yeah. Honestly, like Steam
unless somebody corrects me. Somebody may correct me.
I'm sure there's probably been like one game or two, but there's probably a legitimate reason behind it. It's not just like Gabe was like, fuck this game in particular.
Yeah. Who knows, man?
Yeah,
where's Half-Life 3? God damn it.
They don't know how to count to 3. That's just
they do know how to count to 3. It's spelled ALYX.
I'm still waiting for Half-Life 2 Episode 2 Part 2 Side B.
And Knuckles.
2K6.
So yeah, but like all this Beyond Good and Evil, I've never even played the first Beyond Good and Evil, so I don't even know what the big deal is.
I don't understand the cult following behind it. It's a fine game. It's like a Zelda style game, but you like take photos or something. It's good. I mean, it's the first game is so easy to fucking find. Like you can get it anywhere, like Xbox or PlayStation.
I think it's on my wish list. It usually goes on sale for like $249 or something, but I've yet to pull the trigger on it.
I think it was its big thing. It was kind of like Psychonauts. It was just a very quirky game that like the people who played it absolutely loved, and then like it had a cult following. And then when a sequel was announced, everyone kind of lost their mind. Although, unlike Psychonauts, which got its sequel and it was really good, Beyond Good and Evil's been in this fucking mess for years now.
Well, that just shows. What's the? God damn it! My brain's not working today.
Oh, Double Fine.
Yeah, just shows Double Fine is better than Ubisoft. I think we all knew that.
Well, Tim Schafer's an odd guy, but when he has an idea, he usually gets it done.
Yeah. And Psychonauts 2 could have potentially fallen into the Beyond Good and Evil 2 problem because I think it got crowdfunded.
Yes.
But when they were developing the game, they realized that, oh shit, the crowdfunding wasn't enough. We need more money. And so they were looking at like some private investors and all that stuff, and we're trying to get some money, but it was getting difficult. And they're like, "Fuck, we don't know how long this game's going to take." And then that was around the time Microsoft scooped them up because they went to Microsoft and said if they were willing to invest. And Microsoft says, and according to Tim, he was like, Microsoft said, "And we don't really invest in other companies; we just kind of swallow them whole." And at first he was completely against the idea of being bought by Microsoft, but they brought it up to him. But then he went to like Obsidian and Exile, some of the other companies that were owned at that time, and they were like, "Hey, how is like being owned by Microsoft? Like, is it bad?" And they're like, "No, it's actually like pretty chill." They
Honestly, I think Microsoft got such a bad rap just because of Bungie.
yeah,
Bungie and Microsoft was a marriage that was never going to work because Bungie is so fucking independent, which is hilarious.
and
Sony
Bungie are
owns them
kind
now.
and Bungie are kind of shitheads.
Yeah, like because I remember
Ask
like
Sony about that.
yeah, poor Sony is getting so much shit, and it's like it's Bungie just being Bungie.
Yeah, well, it's just funny that I guarantee you Sony bought Bungie thinking it would be like a cool like way to own Microsoft, right? By buying the Halo company. And then not that long after, they're like, they're such a fucking headache. Oh, they fucking suck. And then somebody's like, oh, that's why Microsoft never bought them because they fucking suck. It's like, shit. Just realizing they were right all along.
Microsoft owned them for a little bit. They bought their independence back.
Yeah.
Because I remember because Microsoft should have known from day one because like when like Microsoft bought them and moved them into the Microsoft offices, they immediately were like, yeah, we aren't changing our culture and we're gonna keep being the way we are. And Microsoft wasn't into that, but they kind of put up with it because Halo.
Yeah. So.
And Sony, I mean, give Sony credit. They let their studios basically just do what they want.
And Microsoft kind of does the same now.
Yeah, they've learned.
And in Exile, yeah. And even like hell, what the hell's Double Fine doing? They're working on something. They gotta.
They're always working on something. It's just
but like Psychonauts 2 is like their last thing, right?
Tim's a secretive guy. I think once he's ready, he'll announce something. But
I have a feeling it's Brutal Legend 2. Because
that would be cool.
He has talked all the time about wanting to do another one. He's always wanted to do a sequel to it. And kind of right some of the wrongs with the first game as far as like the bait and switch marketing with Brutal Legend, which that was an issue at the time. I remember.
Well, yeah, because
we all thought it was going to be an action game, and it was a fucking RTS.
Yeah, like, what's this real-time strategy shit?
Yeah, I just want to listen to some metal, bro. I don't want to learn tactics.
If he is working on a Brutal Legend 2, I guarantee you the reason he's quiet about it is because he's going through the licensing shit right now.
Yeah, because he's going to get Jack Black back. And then it's a process of getting everybody else. And yeah, it would probably be like a licensing nightmare. So it'd be better to wait until it's like, and plus I think Sony and Microsoft, I hope they're learning from, say, Nintendo, learned from their mistakes, which is, just announce the game when it's just a couple months out.
Yeah.
Like, don't do this. Oh, it's coming whenever. Like, don't do that. I hate that. Let's get rid of that. Like, I want to see like a whole presentation where it's like, all these games are coming out in the next like 6 months. Be like, hell yes, baby. And then I have a reason to be excited. So if the game comes out 2 years from now, it's like, why do I care? Unless it's a big series I give a shit about. Why should I care?
Yeah, it's funny because I was thinking about the Microsoft buying studios and kind of hurt and like killing them, and I think the only other instance that was really notable is Rare.
Rare was kind of killing themselves at that point.
Well, yeah, that's the whole reason why. Because a lot of people don't realize Nintendo didn't lose Rare. Nintendo passed on Rare. They were like
they didn't want them. They didn't want them.
They were too expensive. Like because they were like by the end, like their games were just like costing Nintendo so much money to make.
Yeah, and also I think Nintendo was slightly jealous of Rare's quality in the Super Nintendo and N64 days, that they took an IP of theirs and made it better.
Yeah, they
I have heard that like they didn't really like how Rare made Donkey Kong like better, quote unquote. You know what I mean?
I know Miyamoto didn't.
Yeah, and so I feel like there was always a tension there between Nintendo and Rare. But I think had, say, Grab by the Ghoulies come out on GameCube, we got that Donkey Kong Racing game. Like all the other stuff we were supposed to get on GameCube held Cameo, right? Like, would people have liked those games more because they were on GameCube? Maybe if they're dumb, but like, I think Rare was just kind of in a down turn anyways. They could have done some interesting stuff on the Wii, but we'll never know. And Rare, it's not the same Rare anymore anyways, so
No, the Shaper Brothers have been long gone for
exactly. If
a
if if,
long
if you
time.
if you care that much, just go play ukulele, okay?
And even then, like Rare is kind of back on it because like Sea of Thieves is apparently really good now. They're
Yep.
working.
Well, people have always liked Sea of Thieves.
It was slow to the start, and then once it really picked it was kind of like the space game that sucked at first and then got better.
No Man's Sky.
No Man, it was kind of like No Man's Sky where it came out and it was kind of like it's got problems, and then once they finally added stuff and finished up like things that weren't done, it was like, oh, this game's amazing.
Okay, I see. I thought Sea of Thieves was more liked at the start.
There was people that liked it, but it took a bit to really build. Well, also the Xbox One install base wasn't particularly high at the time when it came out.
Yeah, you could say Sea of Thieves was probably the best like exclusive for the Xbox One, probably, right? At least
either that or like Sunset Overdrive, maybe.
Well, I think Sea of Thieves in terms of like being a success, like that was probably the most successful game throughout that whole generation, probably.
Probably. I mean, I don't remember if did Halo 5 do well, or was Halo 5 a bomb?
I mean, I'm sure the Halo series does just fine, but I know people don't like 5.
Yeah, well, I mean, they don't really like anything 343's touched, but
yeah, and I'm sure those games are fine. I don't know. We'll find out.
Yeah,
because I've been playing the Halo games with Chris, and oh boy, we finished Halo 3. We for some reason it kept disconnecting us. I don't know why, internet connection stuff or whatever, but it was really souring the experience. But I don't think Halo 3 is a bad game.
no, Halo 3 is a great game.
He does. He thinks it's bad.
Chris just doesn't like Halo.
No, he doesn't. And I keep telling them we don't have to keep playing him, but he's determined to beat them. So
yeah,
here we are.
He
says he likes Reach, so hopefully when we get to Reach, it'll be fine.
Oh, Reach is arguably the best in the series.
That's what I hear. I've never played Reach.
It was good. I played it like a year ago and I enjoyed it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm
more of a Gears guy at the end of the day.
Well, Gears is just a better series in general.
Yeah. Hopefully we see Gears 6 at this Xbox showcase in June, so then I'll be very happy.
Yeah, it might get me to finally get a series.
Yeah. Speaking of, where the fuck's Perfect Dark? Where the fuck? Speaking of Rare, what the hell, man?
Are they aren't making that, right? It's
No, it's the Initiative, but like ever since that trailer, you remember that trailer? Like nothing. Been fucking dead, which says to me that they announced it way too early. Shocker. And we haven't heard a thing. Like all I've heard is the Initiative has just been having all this turmoil inside, and Crystal Dynamics has come in to really help and has been a big help, but it's still like quite a ways off. I don't know. Like that would be a big landmark title for the series to have like the Perfect Dark reboot come out and be a big deal. But
same with Fable. We haven't heard about Fable in a while.
It had that trailer last year.
That's been like the last thing we heard, though.
Yeah, but it was nice to see like a proper trailer. And from what I've heard, the Fable reboot is going well. Like the like I think Eidos Montreal is helping on that one. I think. And if I remember, they're helping out with like the combat and the gameplay stuff, and Turn 10 Playground is doing is handling most of like the art assets and the world and the story and all that stuff.
That
because they can do
a lot of sense.
And then like Eidos is doing like the combat mechanic stuff, and I imagine the Fable reboot's going to be really good.
I hope so.
I have Playground's great. I have all the confidence in the world. in Playground because the
I-
Horizon games are fantastic. They know how to do like a big world, and if you actually play those games, there's humor in there as far as like character interactions and stuff.
yeah.
So they can do jokes. So
My concern with that was, I mean, now that I hear Eidos is involved, I'm a little more optimistic. But my concern initially was like the racing game studio is going to be making the RPG. That's an odd choice. But now that I hear,
it is an odd choice, yes. But Eidos Montreal has been collabing, I think since the start of it.
that gives me a lot more hope because I mean, when you think RPGs, they made Deus Ex, and Deus Ex is a really good RPG.
Oh yeah. So I think when the Fable reboot will be a big deal when it comes out. And I imagine it will swing and it will be a hit. So
If it's on par with Halo 2, I'm all for. I'm not Halo, Fable 2. I'm all for.
I mean, Halo 2 is pretty good as well.
It is. Be funny if it was like, oh yeah, it's the Fable reboot. It's Halo 2. It's like, all right.
That'd be funny, but but
Yeah.
we'll see what happens. Xbox has a lot in the pipeline that I am genuinely interested in.
More than Sony has right now, because Sony, I don't even know what the fuck they're working on.
Not a thing, but that's okay. But
Sucker
remember,
Punch.
it's okay. It's fine. Ghost of Tsushima's coming to PC, which is a good thing.
Yeah. I mean, Sucker Punch is working on something. It's Sucker Punch. They're putting 100% into it, so it's going to be a bit.
Ghosts of something, right? They're doing that. Insomniac's doing Wolverine. Probably.
Ugh. When I saw the fact that they're making it a stealth game kind of bothers me because like Wolverine should not be stealthing.
Yeah. And then Santa Monica, I don't know what the hell they're going to be doing.
You ever notice that Santa Monica is not even based in Santa Monica anymore?
Yeah, that's weird.
Funny. That's always been funny to me.
With Santa Monica, I've heard that the next God of War, they're going to do another reboot, but not necessarily a story reboot, but maybe more like a gameplay one.
Yeah.
And they're going to change the mythology again, which I think is fine. Well, I've also heard they have like kind of a new sci-fi IP in the works that they want to do something with that. So
I'm all for it.
Why not? But that's really all I've heard through the grapevine about what's going on with them. So
Naughty Dog's working on something. We just have no idea what.
Well, that Last of Us factions got canned thanks to Bungie.
Yeah.
That whole thing was a mess. Like they should just put that in Last of Us 2. The fact they split it up, it was like, oh, it's not gonna work.
There's rumor that they're making Last of Us 3, which I really hope not, because I'm just
no. They're gonna do it. It's how they do it. They have to do 3 parts, man. And 2 ended on a cliffhanger. A bad cliffhanger, but a cliffhanger nonetheless.
I wanted to love that game so much, and I just fucking can't.
See, what I hated about that ending was its obvious sequel bait. You know, like it makes no sense for the story to end in that spot, other than they just want to make a 3rd one.
Yeah. That was a series that did not need a sequel. I'm still like firmly standing for that.
Just the one game would have been fine. Would have been fine. I get why they wanted to do a 2nd one, but yeah, they'll probably do a 3. I've heard there's a new IP in the works from them as well. So, but it might be a long time before we see anything notable from these guys for a while. So
I've heard Ben Studio's working on something, but who knows what Ben Studio's working on at this point.
Which one's Bend? What do they do?
Siphon Filter, Days Gone was their most recent game.
Oh, okay. Maybe they'll do a Siphon Filter reboot.
I just want to
turn it into a first-person shooter to compete with COD.
please don't. I want another Siphon Filter because the fucking last one ended on a cliffhanger and they never resolved it.
I mean, why not? Fuck it, bring it back. But who knows? Maybe we'll do a new IP. I just want the Astro team to make like a full Astro game, man. Just do that.
Or
why can't we?
They're the remains of Japan Studio. Ape Escape, please make a new Ape Escape at this point.
See, we can't make these over-the-shoulder dad simulators, so obviously we can't do it. Can't. It's impossible.
Oh,
that's all anybody wants from us.
Well, I mean, Naughty Dog
It's over the shoulder dad simulators.
Naughty Dog legitimately couldn't make a new Jack and Daxter because they forgot how to make a Jack and Daxter.
I wouldn't want them to make a Jack and Daxter now.
Well,
I would trust Insomniac with Jack and Daxter over Naughty Dog.
Legit, when Naughty Dog tried to make a new Jack and Daxter, it was so darker and edgier that they ended up morphing into Last of Us.
I love that idea, and it also hurts me.
Yeah. I also want a new Sly, but I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon.
I'll believe it if I ever see it, but I don't ever expect to see it. So
I just want to get him out of the damn desert.
Fair enough.
He's still there.
Yeah. But on the flip side with Xbox, like there's not. Oh well, let's see. Like Hellblade's coming, which I'm very excited for. I may end up streaming my whole playthrough of that. The Indiana Jones game for Machine Games, I'm excited for that. I'm trying to think what else is coming out. That's all I can think of off the top of my head. I know there's more. Avowed's coming out this year, I think. Which I'm curious to that one. I know some people were poo-pooing on it, but I think it looks interesting. Id, from what I've heard, Id's either doing another Doom game or potentially a Quake reboot.
I'd love to see Quake come back.
They should do a Quake reboot. I like with Doom Eternal, I don't know where the hell you go from there. So, I mean, I'm sure they could figure it out, but fuck it, do Quake, man. Quake would be awesome. Like Doom 2016 Quake. I think that would be a big hit.
Is Toys for Bob working on anything, or have they disappeared?
Oh, they're independent. Remember?
I know they're independent. They just haven't done anything.
They have the contract with Microsoft. People think it's Spyro 4 from some of the wording that they've used, which makes sense. They would do a Spyro 4. They've also said they wanted to do a new IP, but that's probably not in any production or anything. So my guess is the next time we hear from Toys for Bob, it'll probably be Spyro 4. Whenever that is, I'm not sure. This year would be cool, but I'm not expecting it. So who knows on that one?
Yeah,
I'm trying to see. Oh yeah, good old Bethesda. So the Fallout thing, right? That TV show came out. People seem to like it, right? Yet there's no active Fallout game in development. And it's one of those things that's like, and apparently from what I've heard, Microsoft are a little upset about that, and it's like, and maybe they'll take steps to expand Bethesda a little bit to make them a 2-game studio, or to be like, well, you guys are doing Elder Scrolls 6, because I'm sure that's in full active development right now. Like we'll have these people go off to do another Fallout game, or even HD 1 and 2. Fuck it, just do that.
Or even wild idea here. Microsoft owns both Bethesda, the owner of Fallout, and the original creators of Fallout. Maybe have them make a new Fallout game.
Are you talking about Obsidian or In Exile?
Obsidian, technically.
Obsidian's busy, dude. They got Avowed, Outer Worlds 2. They're working on something else as well, I think.
Ironically, Obsidian seems to be able to handle multiple games way better than Bethesda does, which is kind of funny.
That is funny, yeah. I'm trying to think what the fuck all Obsidian's working on right now. I know they're doing Avowed's coming out this year, and the Outer Worlds 2. That's all we know. I heard they were working on another RPG, but I'm not sure beyond that. So I mean, them doing a New Vegas 2 would be huge. And who knows? Maybe that's probably been tossed around. Had to have been by now. So who knows? Maybe that is something they're potentially getting on board. But I just don't want to keep throwing all this shit on Obsidian. Like, they're a great studio, but you don't want to stretch them too thin. You know what I mean?
True. Very true.
But yeah, like them not having like the Fallout game they've had to rely on is Fallout 4 getting its big update, and Fallout 76, which I'm told is a lot better than it was at the launch, like most live service games. So there you go. Let's see what else. Fucking let's see. Okay, Compulsion Games, they're doing that South of Midnight thing, which looks interesting. I'll be curious to see what that is when we in the future. That's the We Happy Few people. Yeah, I can't wait to see what Double Fine's working on because I do love me some Double Fine. So hopefully, maybe this year we'll finally hear what they're working on. I'd like to know. Yeah, not sure what id's doing, and Exile's doing that Clockwork Revolution game, which looks really cool. That's sort of like Bioshock-ish thing. So,
that Star Wars game's coming out pretty soon, I believe.
oh, Outlaws. That's
Looks interesting.
that's Ubisoft, right?
Yeah, I mean, it looks interesting. I'm not sure if it's going to be good or not, but
From what we've seen, it looks good. I think it looks cool as hell, but it's one of those I'll probably wait for reviews. It's Ubisoft. I should wait.
oh, they're making a
Before I
Prison
pull the
Architect.
trigger.
They're making Prison Architect 2. Hell yeah.
About time. Let's see. Well, Mojang does Minecraft. Ninja Theory. Oh yeah, Ninja Theory also has that Project Mara, that like weird horror game they want to do. So my
Ninja
guess is
Theory
after Hellblade 2, we'll think about it. I mean, I'm excited as hell for Hellblade 2. I loved Hellblade 1. So Hellblade 2 is going to be a great experience. And hopefully I will share it with all of you people on my Twitch channel.
Ninja Theory is one of those devs that like they exist, but you kind of forget they exist a lot of the times because like
Yeah.
the games they make range from being decent to controversial. Because I mean they're never going to live down DMC, despite the fact that DMC is a perfectly fine game with a really bad
I mean,
story.
they made the best game in the series. What are you talking about?
People will fight you on that, but
I'd die on that hill. Fuck them.
stylistically, I love the way DMC looks. That story is trash, though.
I mean, I recently I tried to play a little bit of Devil May Cry's 1, 2, and 3.
I mean, I don't blame you for 2. 2 is bad. Like everyone knows that.
I think
1,
people are too harsh on 2, in my opinion.
it's just like I got what they were trying to do, but it didn't work. That was its big problem.
Yeah, fair, I guess, but I don't know. I think people are just weird about the Devil May Cry series. You know,
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean,
It tends to happen with like Japanese games. People get really weird about them.
well, that was during like Inafune's huge like, we need to push American developers because Japanese studios don't know how to make games anymore. And then like he basically
Yeah, it's true.
screwed all of these like series, and then he just like fucked off after that.
Even though DMC is a good game, I just think the problem is it got kind of sucked into that. When really, I think if people go back and play it now, they'd be like, "Damn, this is fucking good. This is really good."
DMC
And Ninja Theory know what they're doing. I mean, Enslaved Odyssey of the West is a fun game. I mean, and I love Hellblade 1 to death. I've never played Bleeding Edge. I'm told it wasn't great. So
there was also what was that? What was their first game? Fucking the PlayStation.
Kung Fu Chaos, baby. I like that game. I have a soft spot for that game.
Okay, not that one. It must have been their second game. The one, a big PS3 game.
Heavenly Sword.
Heavenly Sword, Goddess of War. Yes.
Goddess of War. Yeah. That game's fine.
It is fine, but it's so just like it exists. Like that is like
basically it existed because we don't have a God of War ready for the PS3's launch. So play this instead.
I loved when they put her in Sony Smash Brothers and everyone was like, who the fuck is this?
Oh yeah, I remember that. Felt bad for her on that one.
I love that game. Even though it bombed.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and with Rare, we didn't mention Everwild. What the fuck's going on with Everwild? What even is an Everwild, man? Do you know? I don't know. Does anybody know?
I saw the first trailer and I forgot about it after that.
I mean, the game looks cool. Looks cool as shit. But apparently I've heard that like even Rare is like, we have no idea. We have no idea. Apparently it's undergone at least one complete reboot. In like
that's never a good sign.
But apparently the reboot was done in like 21. So who knows? This might be the year we see it. And they're like, here's what the game is. And then we'll go, oh, okay.
Cool.
We'll see. I mean, I'll check it out. You know, I mean, the good thing with Game Pass is I can check all these games out, whether I like them or not. Why not? It's right there.
Didn't they announce a new Professor Layton recently?
Yes, they did. New World of Steam.
I'm looking forward to that.
there was some gameplay of it at I think it was the level 5 showcase. That was a while back. That it went more into what's that detective RPG they're doing that got delayed? Because it was supposed to come out late last year, but it got delayed to this year.
Level 5's making it, right?
Yeah, it's that one where you're like a detective and it's like kind of an RPG. It's on the Switch. It looks fucking awesome. Like really cool.
I remember what you were saying. Yeah, it's escaping me right now. Let's see.
Hold on. I will look it up. I'll beat you to it. Deca Police. That's the one.
It doesn't have a Wikipedia page. Lovely.
Yeah, that game looks fucking cool. Like, and I'm hyped as hell for it.
Oh, they're making another Fantasy Life too.
Oh, yeah. They did announce that, and I didn't care. Those aren't my kind of games.
Fantasy Life was great.
I'm sure they're great. I'm glad y'all love them, but it just doesn't mean anything to me. But yeah, New World of Steam. That's apparently the target release date is next year for, I believe, just the Switch, or at least that's all it's been announced for. And
I'd assume it's just going to be on Switch because I think Nintendo publishes those.
Yeah, but probably it makes sense. Yeah, Level 5 publishes them in Japan, but Nintendo publishes them everywhere else. And if I remember correctly, with this new one, it's after Unwound Future.
Are they just ignoring
where spoilers? Luke at the end of Unwound Future leaves to go to America, basically with his family, because his dad like gets a new job or whatever. And so this game takes place after that, where Luke sends him a letter saying, "Hey, I need you to help me with this puzzle." And so Layton goes over there to help. It might be ignoring Catriel. I'm not sure. It doesn't necessarily say how far in the timeline it is. My guess is it might be between like after Unbound Future, but maybe before the Catriel game, because by that point his daughter's like a fucking teenager. And so you have to imagine Luke is an adult at that point.
Yeah.
So I still haven't played the Catriel game. I will at some point. But I know with this game, they went out of their way to get a different, because the original Puzzle Master passed away like a long time ago now. And that was one of the issues with the Catriel game, was that the puzzles just weren't like up to par.
The puzzles weren't great in the layout. The story just wasn't as interesting.
Yeah. But with this new one, they went out of their way to find like it's like a team of people who do puzzles. Like they're known in Japan. I forget the name of them off the top of my head, but they showed off like some of the new puzzles and how they kind of use the Switch in sort of like an interesting way to solve the puzzles. And I'm very interested, very, very interested. So hopefully we'll see more of that in the future. I would like to see ports of the old games. It's a shame. It's a shame that series is stuck on the DS. I mean, you can play the first 3 on your phone, but
yeah, God forbid if you want to play the 6th game, because fucking hell.
Yeah, exactly. And what's nice is the trilogy that's on phones. They're the HD versions. So if you want like upper, like, you know, cleaner anime cutscenes from those games, you have to get them there. But it's a mess. So,
I just hope the story
at one point they were going to do the 3 for Switch. They were planning to do the HDs on Switch. In fact, I think they were even on the store for like a second, but then they went away. So I don't know what happened with that. So
yeah, I just hope the new story is like batshit insane as the rest of the series, because I fucking love those.
Oh yeah,
Layton stories.
God, I hope so too.
Speaking of Layton, though, like the Ace Attorney second trilogy came out, and I think did pretty well.
Well, that's good.
Gives me
they
hope.
They should make a new Ace Attorney game.
That's what I've been hoping. Like Ace Attorney 7. It's been a long time since 6 came out.
Yeah, like they keep doing these remasters of the old ones and like putting them in collections. And as far as I could tell, they're doing really well. So like hell, let's keep let's get this ball rolling. And I think Capcom is at a point now where financially they can take more chances. I mean, they've talked about how like financially they're doing like really well, and they're like paying their employees more money for doing good jobs, which is what American companies should be doing. like Capcom's in a great spot right now. Like we have that Monster Hunter coming out this year, that Path of the Goddess game, which I think is on Game Pass, so I'll definitely give it a shot. It looks interesting. But outside of that, we don't know much of what's going on in Capcom. Like, I think it would maybe be smart of them to maybe give Resident Evil a break. It's been a yearly series now for quite a while, and it's just been constantly rising. And with like Resident Evil 4 being this just big blockbuster game and did a fantastic job, it's like I think this year they should be smart and just take the year. Like let Resident Evil let it cool, so that when they eventually do 9 and the 5 remake, like enough time has passed to where people are interested again. You know?
They're gonna do a 5 remake before they remake Code Veronica. I can already see it.
And that hurts me because I think Code Veronica deserves a remake, but
it needs a remake. It has aged terribly.
The rewriting the story could be difficult, but it could be done. There's some problematic shit in there.
Yeah, there is.
There is.
The story is questionable. It's mostly the gameplay that's like this game has not aged well at all.
No, and it would be a good way of connecting 2 to 5 because it's basically it follows Claire after 2. So we need that, like what happens to Claire, right? We need to know. So who knows? I mean, the 5 remake could start with like following Claire, doing like some light Code Veronica stuff beforehand, potentially. But
as long as they have Chris in the football pads punching the boulder, that's all that matters.
Oh, of course they are. Like Resident Evil 8 acknowledged him punching the boulders. They know. Capcom, they're not dumb. They know. But that's I think go ahead.
I was gonna say that's one of my favorite like YouTube poops ever. They had him in like the heavy metal like art like DLC costume that looks like football pads, and they inserted the sound effects from a Tecmo Bowl from NES over it, and it's just like ready down, hut.
That's good shit.
Like, as he's punching the boulder.
Fantastic.
I love shit like that.
But yeah, I think it's smart. Let Resident Evil cool off for a bit. Like Street Fighter 6 is doing really well. Monster Hunter is doing really well. I think it's time to invest in Mega Man. I think it's time.
Legends.
Come
3,
on,
get him off the moon.
They're not going to do Legends 3. They should do a Legends collection, but I don't think they'll do a 3. I think Mega Man 12 might as well.
X9.
And fuck it. Why not? Do X9. Do 12 and then do X9. I mean, 11 was the best-selling game in the series, which weirds me out that that's the fact, but
8 ended on a cliff. X8 ended on a cliffhanger. I mean,
why not do a big budget Mega Man game? People care. People still care about Mega Man, and I think, you know, Capcom, they have the money to invest in something like a Mega Man, and I think bringing it back in a big way would make a lot of people happy. No, it wouldn't be that big of a deal.
Legends remake,
maybe they're
but
maybe they're just worried about going back to the X-Well because it's hard to like reboot that the way they did with just the core Mega Man series. I'm not sure. But I mean, who knows? I still like do some more Mega Man. Give us DMC 6. Fuck it. It's not. I need a Beautiful Joe collection. Okay, for the love of God, 1, 2, Red Hot Rumble. Give them to me. Okay?
That one on was Red Hot Rumble the PSP one, or am I thinking the DS game?
You're probably thinking the DS game because they all came out on like GameCube, PS2. Like, give me those. God damn it, I need them. We have Okami. Give me Beautiful Joe, and then fuck it, give me God Hand, okay? It's time for the Clover games back. Give us back, you know? Like, I feel like it honestly would warm my heart if Capcom is like, hey, we're going to do the Beautiful Joe collection, and we want Platinum to do it. That would warm my heart, because it would be like they finally mended the fence. Because I think Platinum could do some really cool stuff with Capcom, but there is that, you know, Clover thing. So
yeah,
I don't know. But like, come on, I think Capcom can start investing and getting bigger and doing more projects, and I think they can get away with it now. So
you know, a Capcom series I'd love to see come back.
Don't say Dark Void.
No, not Dark Void. Maximo.
They're never going to do Maximo.
I know they're not, but I'd love to see another one.
That would be cool. Those games are very cool, but Like that whole Ghost and Goblins tree is so weird and wacky. I mean, they did that one a couple years ago, if you
Yeah, and
remember.
it was pretty good.
Yeah, it was pretty good. So, yeah, I just hope to see more out of Capcom because they did all the right things for a lot of years. They scaled back, they downsized, they invested in themselves, and now they are reaping those rewards tenfold. And now they're at a point where they're like, we can do other things again. But I think they want to be smarter about it and not like make all these weird fucking things again.
Yeah.
So I very well see them doing like another Mega Man game, probably another Devil May Cry at some point. But outside of that, who really knows? Maybe another Ace Attorney. I think that would be a big success for them. I mean, as I said, I want the Beautiful Joe collection so bad. Imagine those games on like modern consoles. Oh, they would look so good. Like clean those graphics up. Oh, baby. Oh, Henshin a Go-Go.
Yeah.
So, better than Konami. God damn it.
Yeah. So we're at about an hour and 30.
God, I talked for way too fucking long. Sorry, guys. Sorry.
No worries. So I figured now we should probably wrap this one up. Any final thoughts before we close out, or?
Despite all the dumb bullshit that's going on and all the weird controversy and all this other crap, at the end of the day, if you're having a good time playing a video game, that's what matters. Life is too short to worry about a little bit of boob on an anime girl.
Yeah.
And instead, if you guys can't see, I'm playing Jedi Survivor, having a great time with it. I recommend you guys play that. Just play a video game, all right? Just play a fucking game. I say that now so much where I'm just like, where all these people are doing this weird shit. I'm like, guys, just like get an Xbox and play a game, man. It'll calm you down.
Mm-hmm.
So at the end of the day, have fun.
Yeah. And on that note, guys, once again, thank you for joining us on the 3DO Experience. The 3DO Experience can be found on all the major podcasting platforms, including YouTube with video versions of the podcast, I guess. Barbecue Games, and if you'd like, you can join the GNC Podcast Network Discord server to talk all things gaming, collecting, 3DO Experience, Geek Addicts, talk gaming, anime, or just general nonsense. And of course, Thrak is streaming tonight. If you'd like to plug your stream,
it is, if you look at the little thing here, twitch.tv/Thrak94. We are again continuing our Genesis ranking for this week. For next week, I think we're going to change it up a little bit because I think I figured out how to remote play my Xbox to my computer to do some streaming. So hopefully next week we will be playing some Xbox stuff, and maybe every other week I'll be like, this week we'll do Genesis stuff, then this week we'll do Xbox stuff, kind of thing. That's kind of the plan. And then probably when Hellblade 2 comes out, that'll probably be my main streaming game for when that is out. But we'll get there in time.
Nice. And with that, everybody, we will see you all later.
Bye-bye.
If you're not playing on a 3DO system, what are you playing with?